methodology, the principal methodology that is used by the Quran is the methodology that is used by Rumi in the Masnavi. Because it says in the Quran, فَقْسُسِ الْقَصَصِ, so tell the stories. And through those stories, Allah gives us so many lessons about Musa and Fir'aun and so many other things. Rumi uses the same methodology and talks about so many subjects. But it is the subject of love that stands out. People who walk on the spark of spirituality are called salikun. I think you must have heard that word, salikun. And the path of spirituality is called Rahe Suluk. There are thousands of people walking on Rahe Suluk, the salikun, who cross the different stations on this road to spirituality, and they get their lessons from Masnavi Maulana Rum. So this is a very, very important book. And then of course everyone says primarily it's talking about love. So the word love that is used in Persian by Maulana Rumi and other poets is ishq. Ishq is not just love. Ishq is radical love. Ishq is intense love. And yes, it has, as Dr. Najam said, a divine element to it. So in the words of Rumi, and let me tell you, love stands as a concept in Rumi's poetry as one, only and absolute. My Persian is not that great, so forgive me if my accent is not good. But Rumi says in the Masnavi, Sharh ishq man bagoyam bardavam, sad qayamat bagozarat o an natamam. If I begin to describe what love is, 100 days of judgment will come and go, and the story of love will be incomplete. And you know, even like they say, even Qayamat has a measurement, has a had. Of course, you must have read in the Quran, that day will be a day which will be equal to 50,000 years. Right? Even some kind of measure, Qayamat has been given. Had kuja anja ke wasfe izadas. How can love have any measurement when it is a quality? It is the quintessential quality of Allah Himself. And Allah is without had. Allah is limitless. So this quintessential quality of Allah is limitless. When you look at law, and I am a lawyer, and when you look at mazhab and religion, it is always a set of do's and don'ts, isn't it? It's always haram or halal, do this, don't do this. And yet Rumi says, Ishq as tariqo rahe pehambare ma. Ishq is the way, is the path of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Ma zadae ishq, o ishq shud madare ma. I am the offspring of ishq, and ishq is my mother. And when I read this sher, that's when I truly realized that what Rumi is saying is that ishq is the mother feeling, the mother source of the universe, and all other feelings that are good, that are noble, that are worth appreciating are offsprings of ishq. So if you, all of you my friends, if you have in you mercy, if you have in you generosity, if you have in you forgiveness and compassion and dignity and sacrifice and service, be sure they are all offsprings of another mother feeling, and that is the feeling of love. It's very interesting. I wanted to compare some other poets with Rumi also. All great poets. And I can write this down to you. I can give it to you on stamp paper if you want to use some legal language. All great poets are going to vouch for this, that this is the mother source, love is the mother source, and all other feelings are coming out of this. I'm going to quote to you William Shakespeare from his famous play called The Merchant of Venice, in which there is a little passage on mercy. When Portia goes into the court and she's telling Shylock not to take that pound of flesh from the poor person who had borrowed money from Shylock, she says, and Shakespeare comes 400 to 500 years after Rumi, and Shakespeare says, the quality of mercy is not strained, It droppeth as the gentle rain from heaven upon the place beneath. It is twice blessed. It blesseth him who gives and him who takes. It is mightiest in the mightiest. It becomes the throned monarch better than his crown. His scepter shows the force of temporal power, the attribute to awe and majesty, wherein doth sit the dread and fear of kings. But mercy is above this sceptred sway. It is enthroned in the hearts of kings. It is an attribute of God himself. I see the same sentiments that Rumi echoes 400 years later in the words of Shakespeare. And in the 19th century, our own Allama Iqbal, 19th and 20th century, talks in the same way about ishq. He says it is ishq, because of which we see all these mojazat in the world. Ishq ke hai mojazat, saltanat o faqr deen, ishq ke adna gulam, sahibe tajo nageen, ishq makano makeen, ishq zamano zameen, ishq sirapae yaqeen, or yaqeen fathe baab. All these things, till you reach success and victory, come and are born out of this feeling called ishq. What else is ishq? What else is love? Unconditional love for everything. It's actually a total, it is as Shazri was talking about, it is an offshoot of Tawheed. I think there must be a place where Tawheed and love come together. Rumi says, I'm going to use your, Dr. Najam, your translation, Shaad baad e ishq kush saudaiye maa, e tabib jumla illat hai maa. Hail to you, O love, you bring us glad tidings. You are indeed the healer of all our ills. So Rumi says, whatever ills we have, you know that the heart has so many diseases. I think there might be far more diseases in the heart than in the human body. There is jealousy, there is envy, there is hatred, there is intolerance, and the worst, takabbur, vanity, self-love, all these things. Rumi says, all these diseases can be treated if we have a dose of unconditional love in our heart. So basically, love is your vitamins, it's your antibiotics, it's your cortisone, it's your chemotherapy. However great the affliction, the disease in your heart, if you have unconditional love for the artist and for his masterwork, for the creator and for his creation, you can never fall into error because you have the medicine. That is the... And then of course, I think I still have a few minutes. Can I just round it up with saying, one of Rumi's most beautiful passages is when he says, look, this is love. To soar towards the heaven, to tear 100 veils in every breath, to tear 100 veils at the beginning, and to travel in the end without feet. As one of you, I forgot, pointed out, it's love that took Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam all the way across the universe on the night of the Mi'raj. Somebody in the West said something so beautiful recently, I heard. They said he was not traveling at the speed of light. He was traveling at the speed of love. That is what the thing in the throne of God. And then ecstasy, boldness, awareness, courage. I think even the Turks use the word in Turkish, jasarat. All these things are born out of ishq and out of love. The same thing Allama Iqbal repeats about Miraj. He says, Dar daste janoon man, Jibreel zabun se ge, Yazdan ba kamand avar, eh himmat-e mardan. If you have that himmat, where is that himmat coming from? From love. In fact, Allama Iqbal also points out to the same thing. Remember, Dr. Najam's lecture, Allama Iqbal follows Rumi. Rumi is his murshad, and Allama Iqbal he calls himself Murid-e-Hindi. Allama Iqbal says, Be-khatar kood pada, aatish-e namrood mein ishq. Ishq, aqal hai, mehve tamasha labe ba-nabi. If it had been left up to aqal, your mind, he would still be standing here 2000 years later. Should I jump in? Should I not? But he didn't. He did not compromise. And of course, a 20th century great poet, Faiz Ahmad Faiz of Pakistan, he says, करो कज्जबी पर सरे कफन, मेरे कातिलों को गुमा न हो कि गुरूर इश्क का बागपन पसे मर्द हमने बुला दिया. So all this resistance, all this fighting for justice, all these beautiful things that we see and celebrate in humankind are all offsprings of love. Rumi says, on resurrection day, on Qiyamah, all of one's deeds will be weighed on the cosmic scale, that huge scale that Allah will erect, and then people's deeds are going to be measured on the scale. Prayers, fasting, charity, then love will be brought forth. Love doesn't even fit in that scale. And then of course Allama Iqbal repeats this and reiterates this by saying, खुदा के आशिक तो हैं हजारों, बनों में फिरते हैं मारे मारे, मैं उसका बंदा बनूंगा जिसको खुदा के बंदों से प्यार होगा, which is real love. God is easy. Let me tell you one thing that I learned recently from Dr. Ummeed Safi's book, Radical Love. He said God is easy. All this namaz, roza, charity, everything is easy. People are difficult. And the difficult thing is your path to God is through people. So remember that. I'm just finishing off with the last 2 points that I want to make. A beautiful passage from Rumi about the timelessness of love. He says, I swim inside this love on my inside. Love that was before there was time. Love that will be after there will be time. And in the end, he says, being a lover means your heart must ache. No sickness hurts as much as when hearts break. The lover's ailment is totally unique. Love is the astrolabe of all we see. So astrolabe translated into modern terms is GPS. Do you all have GPS in your phones? Do you have them in your car? What does the GPS do? It takes you to the destination. It saves you time and you arrive at your destination safely and soundly. That is what love can do if you practice love in your lives. We heard when we had a lot of tension with India in February. I don't know how authentic this news is, but we saw pictures of it and we are assuming that it was true, that the Turkish Air Force wore Pakistan